Welcome back in time. We're going to be doing March, April 1980 with the BassMaster magazines. Um, it's, see, again, I'm just reflecting myself. It was 1974 was the very first, my first year, and it was not the first year we've done them back in time because I had them, back before I even joined BASS. So it's kind of, again, it's interesting to me, again, I want y'all to see my stylish pants I got on here.
You were known for your pants.
I was no, yeah, I look back on it and I go, whoa. I know everybody had a different view of me, but
Goodness.
yeah, it kind of stood out
Are
though.
those overalls?
No, they were just
Okay.
yellow pants.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a lot of canaries flying and were looking at me in the woods and thinking I was kind of attractive. But anyway, this really became. I expanded this. Roland started this, but I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional. He didn't want to share it, and I really got into it heavy. In other words, explaining. That's how I'd won those classics, and everybody else was bum puzzled because I started learning the seasonal patterns. Really started paying attention to them. I started recording them. Every tournament I'd go to, I'd write down, even if I didn't do well, what the best patterns were. And it's kind of like in the old bass club days when you go up to your guy in the club that was dominant, and you go, I learned real quick. I don't want to know where you fish, but do you mind telling me the pattern, the kind of water, where you're back in the creeks, where you're out in the main lake. And so I started writing that down every tournament I could get information on. Nothing scientific, just very simple, something that would help you recall more accurately what happened in the past, different times of the year. And then I would basically print them all out when I got them on a computer and print out, okay, give me all the tournaments in April, for this time of year. And when I'm driving to the tournament that maybe it was in South Carolina from Texas, I got this printout. And I'm reading all the past patterns that won that time of year on a man-made impoundment. And it was incredibly helpful because some people have a photographic memory. I didn't, but it would allow me to remember more accurately the lures I was using, the kind of conditions we were fishing under, and because they're never exactly the same, but at least it would be fresh in my mind, And I actually started breaking it down into, the spring, summer, fall, winter patterns, and I got where, it was probably one of the most important tools that I developed in my fishing for me and eventually for other anglers. So, but part of it, and they're still developing, because we didn't have all the patterns. We're seeing patterns now that we didn't even know existed back then, because we have the equipment to show us, those patterns, where before it was a guessing game. Oh, here's my thumb bar reels now that looking at Garcia and Ambassador had made. They'd gone from what was that little thin button to now this. See, here was the little thin button you used to have to disengage the reel to cast. And then when they asked me, and I said, boy, you need to put something here right where the thumb is, then they came with the thumb bars. And it's changed because there is no reel now that doesn't use that system of disengaging reels. I don't know if I should show you this, but I am. Bass fishing ranks ahead of TV and sex.
Who did they interview?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Who did they interview on this? It's bass fishing, 16 people. I think they did. They did interview. They interviewed 26 of the guys that were in the Classic, I think. So, yeah, I can probably even name the guys that picked sex. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But I probably could. You know, and then you go down, it even gets sadder, you know. Family outings rated a 4th, attending church rated 1. There was only 1 people that voted for that. We fished on Sundays. You know, most of us had the theory if God's not everywhere, he's not anywhere. So even I'm on a lake, I'm still out with God. So, but anyway, and mother-in-laws, nobody voted on mother-in-laws. So, and this is here's the hypocrisy one. It says gambling, nobody voted for gambling. And yet every tournament we were gambling. I put my money up against you and say, I can beat you. And that's all we were fishing for. We weren't fishing for BAS's money. We were fishing for the money we put up, and now I'm betting I'm going to beat you. So now, yeah, gambling, you eliminate luck and you take a lot of the gambling out of it. Yeah, no, and this was, again, they were getting back into what was most important, you know, was it the Angler of the Year? And of course the riders voted one way, and unfortunately the riders didn't have a clue how these tournaments were being won. So they were going to vote for, yeah, it makes you, naturally you think, okay, you have to fish 8 or 9 tournaments to win Angler of the Year, so if you have to perform at a high level the whole year, well yeah, you would normally say, yeah, then that's more important than fishing one at a high level, except when you weren't really the one that finding the fish most of the time. It was some cousin or brother or friend of a brother or whatever. So I had to straighten every one of these riders out, except Homer Circle. I loved Homer Circle. And this is again, we're fishing the circuit again, 1980, and at Eufaula. And these are some names that Bill Ward, who was Virgil Ward's son, and Larry Nixon, and Randy Fight, he was my brother, and he was doing well. And then Dave Glebe and a lot of these guys, and I was 11th at Eufaula. So again, every year you just started over and you had to re-qualify for the Classic, even though the Classic winner got an automatic berth to get fish again. I never had to use it. I never used my automatic berth. I always re-qualified through the circuit. That completes March, April 1980.